Welcome back to the channel. It's another MCC news. It is the 18th of February 2018. Hopefully you're having a lovely Sunday and kind of enjoying a lot of stuff because the Winter Olympics is on at the moment. There's been some great stuff over the weekend. Super Saturday for Team GB has been fantastic. So it's kind of good because we're not really kind of like a well-funded Winter Olympic nation. So it's great to see some sort of achievement when it comes to lottery funding and all those kind of things. Anyway, we've got a lot of stories within the community, which we've got to cover. Some stuff from yesterday, some stuff from a few days ago, and also a lot of problems with the game and the whole mechanic side of things that we do need to kind of get into, which is causing a lot of frustrations for a lot of people. And in particular, I ran something yesterday on Twitter, and a lot of people did get back to me with regards to feedback. So we are definitely going to cover that in today's MCC news. And just before we do get into those articles, I just want to show you this video, which is just great. This is Frank. He's taken to opening doors now. So if you follow him on Twitter, and make sure you do go over to his Twitter page and make sure you're following for lots of updates and also like funny memes and other things like that, because he did this. So yeah, we're all kind of like sitting down, like looking at him and watching the curling or Winter Olympics, and he goes up to the door and he's like, yeah, he's free now. He's totally free, going right through that door. That's amazing, absolutely amazing. Like I said, follow him on Twitter if you want more updates like this. So our first story is all about new champions. Now, I've seen a lot of things going around on Twitter, like people sending me the links for like Nova and Wasp. And I was a bit kind of unsure about this. Obviously, there has been like plenty of different like videos being posted and claims that this has been data mined. So what I've done is I've gone to Trucos. So I kind of like reached out to him in the DMs, and he got back to me to say that he has a video. So like it's kind of tease for that. He's got a video coming out showcasing some new champions that are coming very soon, and these ones that we don't technically know about. So do look out for that. But he did say when he was doing some data mining work with MCC mods, in fact, there's no kind of mention of Nova. He said there is a case, or more than likely that champion will come. Maybe that's based on some mentions in some data mining stuff, but he didn't see any kind of mention of Wasp. So we're still yet to find out a definite clarification of that coming. But obviously do look out for Trucos' video coming in the next 24 to 48 hours. He said he will be making it in that time frame. He was trying to get it out for yesterday, but obviously timing and time framing, you know, sometimes you just can't do it in that. And obviously, if you're not following Marvel Contest of Champions Trucos on Facebook or Twitter, please do. The links to his kind of page are in the description below. And it's important that you do, because this guy has some great source material, works with some great people, and at the same time does this community a great ambassadorial kind of stuff like that we all need with regards to arena scores and other things that are going to be so helpful for you in the future. So go make sure you're following those pages. So our second story is all about parrying, blocking, AI recovery, things like that. And it's something that I put out on Twitter yesterday because I was experiencing no end of trouble. Like, I was finding that when I was trying to put down a parry or a block, I was either finding that I was being hit through that block, or it was the case that the AI was kind of responding in a very unusual fashion. I mean, the AI is meant to be competitive in any case. I do get that. I'm not stupid. But I do understand there is elements of the game with regards to mechanics, with regards to if you block well-timed blocks and kind of the way that kind of go into a parry, as they normally should, that should be a thing. I am not alone with regards to my feelings of dexterity not working as well to blocking and parrying. A whole heap of stuff with regards to the way the AI recovers. There's still stuff and very prominent problems in the game. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, I did reach out to my community base and kind of like say, hey, is everybody else like had similar problems over, say, an 8 to 10 hour period? And this was largely kind of like Saturday, kind of reaching in a little bit to Sunday. And people did respond back. And I was surprised to say, yes, they have experienced problems. A lot of people are experiencing problems with the same device I've had, which is an iPhone 7 Plus. And this is the big thing that I thought, oh, right, you know, this again was fine. But it was a very fresh kind of like post on the forum, which obviously made me think a little bit more about the situation. It looks like over the last few days, there has been a kind of increase in the issues that people are experiencing. And it has said that Kabam have been going back, or Kabam might will go back to the team to kind of find out what's been going on. But either way, I just feel that that again, we reach the same point that we reach every month, where we have about 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, obviously there's a short month, 2 weeks of kind of a smooth running game. And then everything just kind of like goes downhill. And it's like, maybe that because they're working on the following month stuff, that it is then impacting on the way the contest is working for the last couple of weeks running up to that. And also with weekend stuff, like also it's been half term in like the UK, so I don't know obviously how it's been worldwide with regards to like holiday stuff. I just don't know if maybe the servers are being overloaded. At the same time, maybe global internet's not working so well. But do we go back to that kind of like old running problem that is old tech not optimized with regards to running the game? And the big kind of like push is that should we all be running the most current stuff? And speaking to my cousin who also plays the game, shout out to Millerville7 if you're watching, his problem was that, and I kept saying about the reason that I have an iPhone, and now he's bought an iPhone, and he said like, man, like the amount of times that I've wasted potions and kind of units and stuff, whereas the optimization levels of using an iPhone, and he's got like an older version, like an older kind of like tech still, but still it's like able to run the game a lot better than the Android. Man, the optimization on devices is something that just really gets my goat. It grinds my gears. It does anything but kind of like, it does trigger me, essentially. And I think it triggers a lot of the community, as well as the kind of general, you know, couple of weeks of kind of smooth running gameplay. And then we reach a kind of like a 2-week lull where things kind of go out of place and we just kind of go, what the heck's going on? But either way, hopefully, I say this all the time, hopefully it's the case that this can be rectified and it can be identified as an issue. And then obviously we'll look towards the next update, the next patch, in order to kind of get a smoother running game. Our next story is all about this kind of very interesting post. Now, I did think, first of all, kind of like it was kind of labeled as a bug, but isn't a bug. And this was posted by Krilla, and what's fascinating about it is that Kabam Mike gives an insight the way that champions move, and it's something that I didn't really kind of consider or kind of weigh on in. So if you go to this forum post and press the kind of play button, which we'll do in a moment, the interesting thing about it is the way that Luke Cage moves when he does his L1. As Krilla has moved back a lot more in pacing, say about, I don't know, 3-4 swipes away, and the way that Luke Cage then, and how it's rendered and his movements, he moves a lot more than he would standardly. So we're seeing him do, in this video, he'll do one L1, and then he'll do another L1 at a later point. And the second L1 is the one that you really got to kind of look into. And I was like, how the heck does Luke Cage do that? So we'll run it. So we're just about to drop in the first L1. Here's the first L1. As you can see, very kind of static, very kind of like in, like close, like into a very small space of time. Like this is the second one going in. As you can see, kind of traveled a lot more there, and obviously put into the stun, and unfortunately Krilla was knocked out. But it's that kind of like second L1 with regards to how much he traveled across, that was just so obviously disappointing to see. But at the same time, like, what the heck's that all about? This is when a player's ability comes in to light, and you've got to then make allowances. Like, it's a case you've got to wait a little bit longer in order to do your evade away for this concept of sliding. And this is explained by Kabam Mike in up here, if I can point to the right direction, over here. And it's a very interesting read, but at the same time, if you know about this, then you know about this, and great. But for the people that don't know about this, it also adds that dynamic with regards to how you improve your game with regards to playing against certain champions. He even says that look out for Venom, because he does something similar with regards to this kind of rendering and kind of sliding towards yourself as soon as like an L1 or kind of a special is kind of implemented the same way with like a heavy attack. And I guess that's the kind of like thing, sometimes you're going to go, oh, that's RNG, but sometimes it's this kind of inbuilt concept that the developers have put in. So look to kind of improve your game by this understanding here. Our next story kind of travels a little bit back. It seems like I missed out this one, and this is with regards to like Alliance War synergies not lying in correctly. And I didn't really know too much about this for a while, and it's only a case that now I'm seeing this post and it getting a bit of traction, and it's kind of like brought it to my attention. So it's definitely something that's got to be worked on. But obviously, Knight Tharthos has a very good point that if they applied a lot of these synergies that have newly been added to the game, it's going to potentially add much more kind of like kick-ass synergies, which could be the biggest thing with regards to like strategic kind of placements with regards to defense. Yeah, this is something that they really have to box clever with at the point of putting them in. It's kind of the greatest strength and greatest weakness Kabam have at the moment with regards to putting these new type of synergies in. Yes, they make old champions a lot better. A lot of people have said obviously they could be a cash grab, but obviously the other side of the thing is that, well, did they really consider this aspect of it, and could there be something with regards to exploits, with regards to the way that you put your synergies in, with regards to your defense teams? This is something that I think Kabam really need to box clever with if it's a case that they haven't fixed this completely by this video going live. And it does seem that they haven't really been having an answer since the 23rd of January 2018, so hopefully it's a case we get an answer soon. as well as how they plan to kind of work this, because it could mean for, like I said, some small exploits here there with regards to where people place their teams for Alliance Wars defense. And our final story is all about Sita Man of Legends being removed from the content contributor program. Obviously, if you're not familiar with this, it's dropped on Saturday. He's done a video on this and link to it is in the description. And the main thing to really say about it is that he was removed on the basis that he broke the non-disclosure agreement for Alliance Wars placement of a champion, which he's not really meant to put into competitive modes of play. And the whole story about it is incredibly unfortunate. So like I said, if you want more details on it, go to his video for more details. Unfortunately, this has been the second time in which he's accidentally broken the non-disclosure agreement. Back in December 2016, there was the Howard the Duck incident where he kind of like talked openly about it, and as a result, it meant that obviously the community reacted in a kind of less than favorable way. Obviously, this time people have been a lot more favorable with regards to like forgiveness and totally understand the kind of the reasons for it. Going back to the video, there's a lot of points I can really relate to. When I was Seatin's age, I was just about to buy my first house, 70 hours a week managerial job that was going to take up a lot of my time. I didn't start YouTube, but I was a case that I was kind of 5 months kind of dating Em, and she lived like a little bit away from me, so there was like commuting that had to be done there, so there was a bit of distance between us. And there's loads of other kind of like different things that I was up to at the time. I was doing a degree, I forgot about that. I was doing a degree in business leadership and management. And that, I was doing that like not at university, but I was doing that as kind of an open university. So then being competitive, and the same thing with World of Tanks. And I know I shouldn't really be trying to relate quite so much, but there was stuff with World of Tanks with regards to like clan activity, tournaments I was doing, and also kind of like general kind of like competitive team gameplay on there. But at the same time, that was just it. It's just a case of like when things become too competitive in game, for any game, we do end up having to kind of thrust so much at it, and it's just like a huge drain to our life. The main thing to really say is you've got to have that balance on the situation. I don't think Kabam are ever going to change that kind of whole competitive aspect, that when you do map 6, you've got to be incredibly active to kind of get stuff done, and the whole kind of split between having a life and being hugely competitive is something that's not going to happen anytime soon. So I really do sympathize with him on that situation. One thing he did bring up the subject on is account sharing, and obviously that is one of the aspects with regards to the video that he will explain about. As I said, link in the description for that video. But it does bring up a big, strong debate, which is now kind of reached over to the forum, or had been a discussion point on the forum, and it's something that I think, again, is the elephant in the room with regards to high competitive stuff, and any case of like covering that sort of needs to be addressed, but at the same time it's a very difficult situation. This forum post is the one that I'm talking about with regards to the debate, and I strongly suggest anybody watching this video, anybody that has any kind of concerns or kind of questions at the same time wants to get involved with the debate because they are strongly with it and strongly against it, go over to this post, check it out, put your thought process on there, and just start the debate, because at the same time we need to get an action point for this so that situations like this don't happen again, and there's more clarity and more guidelines on this. One opinion that I have on this matter is based on the way the whole content contributor program works. And my suggestion that I've put towards the developers, which was the case that I put through when this started, was that we have test accounts. Now, not to be kind of like hypocritical, because they could say, oh, we can't do that. Well, the thing is, they allow Dave to have access to a 6-star or kind of like 6-star roster with regards to playing about with adrenaline. Now, that's the next thing. It's like, well, if you can do that for him, then why can't you do something similar with regards to us testing a test account? So like test Kabam, and it's a case that I test Kabam, RichTheMan, like that is my test account. And on there, you only get the champion that you're meant to be reviewing and the 3 or whatever is synergy champions with regards to playing. This then will satisfy the situation of out of sight, out of mind. You know that old saying, out of sight, out of mind. And then it's a case that they wouldn't have to have come down so strong on Seatin if he then had accessed a test account. At the end of the day, I would hope that he would be put back in at a later date, and this kind of be more of a kind of temporary punishment. But I just don't know how Kabam are kind of feeling about the situation. In any case, he says in a video that it doesn't really bother him, and that's cool, because the attitude obviously is positive going forward. He's going to get the champions eventually, and then he'll be able to kind of play about with synergies and kind of reviewing the champion in any case. So that's cool, positive kind of like thought moving forward. And obviously your thoughts about the situation in the comment section below. So that has been Marvel Contest of Champions news for the 18th of February 2018. I think this is going to be a bit too long, so if you stayed through to the end, thank you very much for the support on the video. But I think that this is a solid news. Like, a lot of the other news haven't been so great, but this one particularly solid. Hopefully that you did enjoy it. Obviously, like I said, hopefully you had a great weekend, and as always, I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye bye for now.